Hello, everyone. I'm Natasha. Today, we are going to build a skill that can change the way you listen, read, and speak in English. Not a small skill, a big one. The skill is this: how to meet a word you do not know. Stay calm, keep moving, and still understand what is happening. And even more than that, how to keep speaking naturally even when the perfect word is not in your mind yet. That is what strong listeners do. That is what confident speakers do. And today, that is what you will practice. So before we go anywhere, I want to begin with a simple truth. You do not need to understand every single word to understand English well. You need to catch enough meaning, follow the message, and respond with confidence. That is very different. Many learners lose the conversation the moment one unfamiliar word appears. Maybe this has happened to you. You are listening to a podcast. Everything is going well. Then one word arrives. Just one. And suddenly your mind stops. You are no longer listening. You are no longer learning. You are searching, translating, worrying, and falling behind. Today we break that habit. Today we train a new habit. When a new word appears, you stay inside the conversation. You look for clues. You trust your mind. You make a smart guess. And you keep going. That is the heart of today's lesson. Let's begin with a very easy warm-up. Listen to this sentence. The hallway was dim, so she used her phone light to find the door. Maybe the word dim is new. Do not stop. Just look at the whole picture. Hallway, phone light, find the door. So what does dim probably mean? It probably means not very bright. A little dark. Yes, you did not need a dictionary. You used the scene. Now say the sentence after me. The hallway was dim, so she used her phone light to find the door. Good. Now again. This time say it a little more smoothly. The hallway was dim, so she used her phone light to find the door. Very good. Here is another one. His backpack was bulky, so he could not fit it under the seat. What might bulky mean? Think. Backpack. Could not fit under the seat. So bulky probably means large in an awkward way. Too big, too wide, not compact. Exactly. Now repeat. His backpack was bulky, so he could not fit it under the seat. Again. His backpack was bulky, so he could not fit it under the seat. Good. One more. After running through the rain, they arrived at the bus stop completely drenched. Maybe drenched is new, but what do you know? Running through the rain. Arrived at the bus stop. Completely. So drenched means very wet, soaked. Now say it with me. After running through the rain, they arrived at the bus stop completely drenched. Excellent. Do you see what is happening already? You are not waiting for someone to rescue you. You are reading the situation. You are catching meaning from life. That is the skill. And I want you to remember something important. Your first guess does not need to be perfect. Your first guess needs to be useful. Useful is enough. If the sentence is about a dark hallway and you guess that dim means not bright, that is enough to keep going. If the sentence is about rain and you guess that drenched means very wet, that is enough to stay with the story. That is real listening. That is real reading. That is how fluent people keep moving. Now let's do a little rhythm practice together. I will say a line, then you repeat. Then I will ask you a quick question. Ready. The road was steep, so we walked slowly. Repeat. The road was steep, so we walked slowly. What does steep mean here? Yes. It means the road goes sharply up or down. Hard to walk on. Next. The cup was fragile, so he held it carefully. Repeat. The cup was fragile, so he held it carefully. What does fragile mean? Easy to break. Good. Next. The room felt cramped, so they opened the window. Repeat. The room felt cramped, so they opened the window. What does cramped mean? Too small. Tight. Not enough space. Very good. Now take a breath. Notice something. You already understand more than you think. You are not learning magic. You are learning to notice. And noticing is a skill. Over this lesson, we are going to build your word radar. Your word radar will help you catch meaning from 5 places: the scene, the feeling, the grammar, the shape of the word, and the conversation around it. We will also practice something else that matters just as much: how to speak when the word is missing. Because real confidence is not only I know the word. Real confidence is also I can still communicate. That matters. So here is your promise for today. By the end of this session, you will be better at staying calm, guessing smartly following longer English, and speaking around missing vocabulary in a natural way. That means better listening, better reading, and better speaking. Now let's move into the first radar channel. Not the word itself, the world around the word. When you hear a new word, do not stare at the word alone. Look at the room. Look at the people. Look at the action. Look at what is possible in that situation. Real life gives you meaning. Let's practice. Listen carefully. At the bakery, the man asked for a loaf of bread and 2 flaky pastries. Maybe flaky is new, but you are in a bakery. Bread, pastries. What could flaky mean? Think about pastry. It often has thin, light layers. It breaks a little when you touch it. So flaky probably describes that light-layered texture. Now repeat the sentence. At the bakery, the man asked for a loaf of bread and 2 flaky pastries. Again. At the bakery, the man asked for a loaf of bread and 2 flaky pastries. Good. Now another one. The mechanic said the engine was making a faint noise. Maybe faint is new, but the engine is making a noise. Not a loud noise. A faint noise is probably a weak, light, hard-to-hear sound. Repeat after me. The mechanic said the engine was making a faint noise. Good. Now one more. During the outdoor concert, the crowd unfolded blankets and sat on the grass. Maybe unfolded is new for some learners, but blankets on grass. Outdoor concert. What do people do? They open the blanket from a folded shape, so unfolded means opened out. Repeat it. During the outdoor concert, the crowd unfolded blankets and sat on the grass. Very nice. Now let's make the practice more active. I will give you a scene. You answer out loud with your best guess. Do not wait for perfect English. Just respond. Here we go. You hear this sentence. The tea was bitter, so she added honey. What does bitter probably mean? Pause and answer out loud. Yes, it means the taste was strong and not sweet. Good. Next. The sidewalk was slippery after the cleaning truck passed. What does slippery mean? Pause and answer. Yes. Easy to slide on. Not safe to walk on quickly. Good. Next. The child hid behind the sofa when the dog barked loudly. He looked timid. What does timid mean? Pause and respond. Yes, shy, afraid, not bold. Very good. Now let's stretch the scene a little. Listen to this short moment. The office was silent except for the low hum of the air conditioner. Carla rubbed her eyes, looked at the clock, and yawned. What might hum mean here? A soft, continuous sound. Yes, you hear it in machines. Now, what does this scene tell you? Without explaining anything directly, it tells you it is quiet, late, calm, maybe tiring. That matters because scenes are not only physical, scenes also create mood, and mood helps meaning. Now repeat that short passage with me line by line. The office was silent except for the low hum of the air conditioner. Carla rubbed her eyes, looked at the clock, and yawned. Good. Now answer this. What helped you understand? Was it the dictionary? No. It was the room, the silence, the machine, the kind of sound that belongs there. That is how your word radar works. Let's do a micro dialogue. Listen first. Do you want to sit inside or on the patio B? Let's sit outside. It feels stuffy in here. Maybe stuffy is new. What does it mean? Inside or patio? Feels stuffy in here. So the room probably feels warm, heavy, with not enough fresh air. Yes. Now repeat the dialogue after me. Do you want to sit inside or on the patio? B. Let's sit outside. It feels stuffy in here. Again, a little smoother. Do you want to sit inside or on the patio? Let's sit outside. It feels stuffy in here. Good. Now you try. I will say the first line. You answer with the second idea in your own words. Why do you want to open the window? Pause and respond. Possible answers. Because it feels stuffy. Because there is not enough fresh air. Because the room feels warm and closed. All good. Now you are not only understanding, you are using. That matters. Here is another scene. At the bookstore, Maya wandered through the travel section and paused near a shelf of books about Italy. Maybe wandered is new. Do not panic. Bookstore. Travel section. Paused near a shelf. What is she doing? She is moving around slowly with no fixed hurry. Exploring. That is wandered. Repeat. At the bookstore, Maya wandered through the travel section and paused near a shelf of books about Italy. Again. At the bookstore, Maya wandered through the travel section and paused near a shelf of books about Italy. Now you try. Finish the meaning out loud. Wandered means pause. Yes. Moved around slowly without a strict direction. Excellent. Now let's do a quick reset. 3 things to remember from this part. First, use the place. A bakery, a gym, a train station, a classroom, a kitchen. The place gives meaning. Second, use the action. What are people doing? Carrying, waiting, cooking, fixing, celebrating. Action gives meaning. Third, use common sense. Ask yourself what normally happens in this situation. That question is powerful. Now let's continue. We have used the scene. Next, we use the feeling inside the scene. Words are not only about objects and actions. Words also carry emotional energy. Sometimes you can understand a new word because you can feel the speaker. You can hear tension, relief, pride, embarrassment, annoyance, joy. And those feelings point you toward meaning. Let's begin with a simple example. Listen. When Leo realized he had sent the email to the wrong person, he felt mortified. Maybe mortified is new, but what is the situation? Wrong person, email, a mistake. How does he feel? Probably deeply embarrassed. Yes. Now repeat. When Leo realized he had sent the email to the wrong person, he felt mortified. Again. When Leo realized he had sent the email to the wrong person, he felt mortified. Good. Now try saying only the key idea. He felt mortified. And as you say it, feel the embarrassment. That emotional connection helps memory. Now another one. After waiting all afternoon, they were relieved to hear that the train was finally moving again. Maybe relieved is easy for you. Maybe not. But look at the emotion. Waiting all afternoon. Finally moving again. So relieved means the stress goes away. You feel better. You can breathe again. Now repeat. After waiting all afternoon, they were relieved to hear that the train was finally moving again. Good. Now one more. Nina was irritated by the constant tapping on the desk. Maybe irritated is new, but constant tapping on the desk. How does that feel? Slightly angry, annoyed, bothered. Yes. Repeat it. Nina was irritated by the constant tapping on the desk. Again. Nina was irritated by the constant tapping on the desk. Very good. Now let's do a listening and feeling drill. I will say a sentence. You tell me the emotional direction. Positive, negative, or tense. Ready? He sounded proud when he spoke about his daughter's graduation. Pause and answer. Positive. Yes. Now what does proud mean? Feeling happy and satisfied because of someone's success. Good. Next. She looked uneasy when the manager asked to speak with her privately. What direction is uneasy? Pause. Tense. A little worried. Not comfortable. Exactly. Next. They were disappointed when the restaurant closed early. What direction? Negative. Yes. Now say it. They were disappointed when the restaurant closed early. Good. Emotion gives you direction before it gives you definition. That matters. Let's do a small dialogue. How did Ben react when he saw the broken window? He looked stunned for a few seconds, and then just stared at it. Maybe stunned is new, but broken window, reaction. Stared for a few seconds. So stunned means shocked, unable to react immediately. Now repeat. How did Ben react when he saw the broken window? Why, he looked stunned for a few seconds and then just stared at it. Good. Now answer out loud. If someone is stunned, do they feel calm and normal or suddenly shocked? Yes, suddenly shocked. Very good. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes tone gives more information than the dictionary. Listen to the difference. I'm fine. I'm fine. The words are the same, but the feeling may be different. Tone changes meaning. So when you hear a new word in English, do not listen only to the word itself. Listen to the voice around it, the speed, the stress, the silence before it, the reaction after it. All of that helps. Here is an example. The teacher said the essay was impressive. Maybe impressive is already familiar, but even if it were not, the tone of a teacher praising work would help. Impressive carries approval, respect, a strong positive reaction. Now repeat. The teacher said the essay was impressive. Good. Now compare it with this. The teacher said the excuse was weak. Weak here is not about body strength. It is about quality. Not convincing, not good enough, and tone tells you that. Now say both. The essay was impressive. The excuse was weak. Excellent. Now let's do a role prompt. I will describe the situation. You say the emotion word or a simple description. Situation 1. You studied for weeks, and then you passed a difficult exam. How do you feel? Pause and answer. Maybe proud, happy, relieved. All good. Situation 2. You waved to someone, but they were waving to the person behind you. How do you feel? Pause and answer. Embarrassed, awkward, a little silly. Yes. Situation 3. You hear a strange sound outside your door late at night. How do you feel? Pause and answer. Uneasy, nervous, alert. Very good. Now listen to this small story. During the meeting, Ava noticed everyone looking at her. She checked her shirt and realized the tag was still hanging from the back. She smiled, but inside she felt awkward. Maybe awkward is new. What helps you understand it? Not the word alone, the social feeling, people looking, the tag hanging out, a smile outside, discomfort inside. So awkward means uncomfortable in a social way. Repeat after me. She smiled, but inside she felt awkward. Again. She smiled, but inside she felt awkward. Good. Now say this simple line. Awkward means socially uncomfortable. Excellent. Here is another short story. The little boy clung to his mother's hand before the first day of school. He seemed anxious, but he still walked into the classroom. Maybe anxious is familiar, maybe not. What is the feeling? First day of school. Holding tightly. Still walking in. Anxious means worried and tense. Repeat it. He seemed anxious, but he still walked into the classroom. Good. Now one more. When the power came back on the whole apartment, let out a cheerful cheer, and laughter filled the hallway. Maybe cheerful is easy for you, but imagine if it were new. Power comes back. People are happy. The mood is light and positive. That is enough to follow the story, and that is the point. You do not always need a perfect dictionary-style meaning. You need the emotional meaning that keeps the message clear. Now let's recap this part. When a word is unfamiliar, how does the speaker sound? How does the person feel? What happened before this feeling? What happened after it? Then guess the direction. Positive, negative, tense, calm, surprised, ashamed, proud. Once you find the direction, the meaning becomes much easier. Now we move to another powerful helper, grammar. This part is extremely useful because it teaches you how to use the shape of the sentence. Sometimes you do not know the word, but grammar tells you what kind of word it is. A thing, an action, a description, an idea. And once you know the role, you can guess more accurately. Let's begin with something simple. Listen. The blanket felt coarse against her skin. Maybe course is new. Where is it in the sentence? After felt. Before the explanation against her skin. It is describing the blanket. So coarse is probably an adjective. A quality. Now use the situation. Blanket against skin. If it matters in this sentence, it is probably about texture. Soft or not soft. So coarse probably means rough. Not smooth. Repeat after me. The blanket felt coarse against her skin. Again. The blanket felt coarse against her skin. Good. Now another one. He scanned the menu for something cheap. Maybe scanned is new. Where is it? After he. Before the menu. So it is an action. What kind of action? He and menu. Probably looked through quickly. Searched with his eyes. Yes. Repeat. He scanned the menu for something cheap. Very good. Now another. The village had a narrow bridge over the river. Maybe narrow is new. Where is it? Before bridge. So it describes the bridge. Equality. What kind of quality? Bridge over river. Probably not wide. Yes. Repeat it. The village had a narrow bridge over the river. Good. Now let's go a little deeper. Grammar can also help through contrast. Listen. The first chair looked sturdy, but the second one seemed flimsy. Maybe flimsy is new, but sturdy and flimsy are being compared. If sturdy feels strong and stable, flimsy must mean weak and not strong. Now repeat. The first chair looked sturdy, but the second one seemed flimsy. Again, the first chair looked sturdy, but the second one seemed flimsy. Very good. Now a comparison drill. I will give you a sentence. You tell me whether the word is probably a noun, verb, or adjective. Ready? The soup tasted bland. What is bland here? Pause. An adjective. It describes the soup. And from soup tasted bland. What does it probably mean? Not much flavor. Exactly. Next. They postponed the meeting until Friday. What is postponed? Pause. A verb. An action. And what does it probably mean? Moved to a later time. Good. Next. Her generosity surprised everyone. What is generosity? Pause. A noun. An idea. A quality. And even if you do not know the exact word, you can feel it is something positive about how she gives or shares. Very good. Now let's use articles and prepositions. Listen. He put the documents in a folder. Maybe folder is new, but what helps in a folder? Documents. So folder must be some kind of object that holds papers. You may not know the exact design. That is fine. You know enough. Now repeat. He put the documents in a folder. Good. Another. She sat on the ledge and looked down at the street. Maybe ledge is new, but sat on the ledge. Look down. Street below. So ledge must be a narrow edge or surface at a height. Repeat. She sat on the ledge and looked down at the street. Good. Now try this one. The paint began to peel near the bathroom ceiling. Maybe peel is new here. Grammar tells you it is a verb. Paint began to peel. What can paint do? On a wall, it can come away from the surface. So peel here means come off in thin layers. Repeat after me. The paint began to peel near the bathroom ceiling. Excellent. Now let's do a choose the better meaning drill. Sentence 1. The old notebook was faded after years in the sun. Is faded closer to a brightly colored or B less strong in color? Pause and answer. B. Less strong in color. Good. Sentence 2. The hallway was lined with portraits. Is portraits closer to A. Pictures of people, or B. Heavy boxes? Pause. A. Pictures of people. Good. Sentence 3. The child gripped the railing tightly. Is gripped closer to A. Held firmly, or B. Looked away? Pause. A. Held firmly. Very good. Now let's do a short grammar-based story. The apartment was spotless when the guests arrived. Every surface shone, the pillows were arranged neatly, and even the kitchen counter looked unused. Maybe spotless is new. Where is it? After was. Describing apartment. Now the rest of the story gives evidence. Every surface shone. Pillows arranged neatly. Kitchen counter looked unused. So spotless means extremely clean. Repeat with me. The apartment was spotless when the guests arrived. Again. The apartment was spotless when the guests arrived. Good. Now say the meaning. Spotless means very clean. Excellent. Now one more story. Rena tucked the receipt into her wallet and zipped her bag shut. Maybe tucked is new. What role is it? A verb. An action. What does the scene tell you? Receipt. Wallet. So tucked probably means put into a place carefully and quickly. Repeat. Rena tucked the receipt into her wallet and zipped her bag shut. Very good. Now recap this part with me. When you meet a new word, ask, what job is the word doing? Is it naming something? Showing an action? Describing something? Is there a contrast word nearby? Is there a clue after it? Is there an object connected to it? That is grammar helping you think. And when grammar and context work together, your guess becomes much stronger. Now we add another layer, the shape of the word itself. English is full of patterns. When you start seeing those patterns, the language becomes less random. A new word does not feel like a stranger anymore. It feels like a relative, something connected to words you already know. That is powerful. Let's begin with a simple idea. Prefixes and suffixes, small parts that help carry meaning. Listen to this word. Reusable. Maybe you know use. Maybe reusable is newer. What parts do you see? Re, use, able. If able means possible, then reusable probably means able to be used again. Now repeat. Reusable. Again. Reusable. Now place it in a sentence. These glass containers are reusable. Good. Now another. Uncertain. Maybe you know certain. What does UN often do? It often makes the meaning negative. So uncertain means not sure. Repeat. Uncertain. These plans are still uncertain. Good. Now another. Careless. You may know care. What does less often suggest? Without. So careless means without enough care. Not careful. Repeat it. Careless. It was careless to leave the door unlocked. Good. Now let's build a family. The base word is decide. From decide, we can get decision. Decisive, indecisive. Do you see the family? Decision is the noun. Decisive describes a person or action that shows clear choice. Indecisive means not able to decide easily. Now repeat with me slowly. Decide, decision, decisive, indecisive. Good. Now use them. I need to decide soon. That was a difficult decision. She gave a decisive answer. He seemed indecisive at the store. Excellent. Now another family. Comfort. Comfortable. Uncomfortable. Comforting. Discomfort. Repeat. Comfort. Comfortable. Uncomfortable. Comforting. Discomfort. Good. Now say these lines. This chair is comfortable. These shoes are uncomfortable. Her voice was comforting. He felt discomfort in his shoulder. Very nice. Now let's go into a pattern drill. I will say the word. You try to guess the meaning from the pieces. Predictable. Pause and answer. Probably easy to guess before it happens. Yes. Washable. Pause. Able to be washed. Good. Fearless. Pause. Without fear. Good. Misread. Pause. Read wrongly. Excellent. Overcook. Pause. Cook too much. Yes. Wonderful. This is exactly how word radar becomes faster. Now let's use a short paragraph. The restaurant replaced all of its disposable cups with reusable ones. The owner said it was a practical and sustainable change. Maybe disposable is new. What pieces do you notice? Dispose is harder, perhaps. But look at the contrast. Disposable cups replaced with reusable ones. So disposable must mean designed for one use, then thrown away. The contrast gives you the clue. Now repeat the key sentence. The restaurant replaced all of its disposable cups with reusable ones. Again. The restaurant replaced all of its disposable cups with reusable ones. Good. Now another paragraph. After checking the weather twice, Martin still felt uncertain about the trip. The sky looked dark, and the wind was getting stronger. Maybe uncertain is easy now. Not sure. Not confident. Good. Now repeat. Martin still felt uncertain about the trip. Excellent. Now let's do a word-building speaking drill. I will give you the base word. You say a related form or a simple meaning. Ready. Help. Pause. Helpful. Helpless. Helper. Good. Hope. Pause. Hopeful. Hopeless. Good. Read. Pause. Reader. Readable. Misread. Excellent. Now one more. Power. Pause. Powerful. Powerless. Yes. Very good. Now let's move from recognition to speech. I will start a sentence. You finish it out loud. The instructions were unreadable because... Pause. Possible endings. The print was too small. The page was damaged. The ink had faded. Excellent. Next. I felt powerless when... Pause and respond. Possible endings. The internet stopped during the presentation. The doctor spoke too fast. I could not change the situation. Good. Next. This jacket is washable, so... Pause. Possible endings. I do not need dry cleaning. I can clean it at home. It is easy to care for. Very good. You are not only decoding the word, you are building real control. Now here is an important reminder. Do not try to learn every prefix and suffix at once. You do not need a giant list. You need a few useful patterns that keep appearing. That is enough. Notice them. Meet them again. Use them in speech. And they become natural. Now let's recap this part. When the word is new, ask, do I know the base word? Do I recognize a common ending? Do I recognize a common beginning? Is there a contrast word that helps me? Is this word part of a family I already know? Those questions will save you again and again. And now we move to a skill that makes your speaking much smoother. Even when the word does not come, this part is important because many learners think this, if I don't know the word, I cannot speak. That is not true. Real communication is flexible. If the exact word is missing, you can still describe, explain, compare point, and continue. That is not bad English. That is real English. Strong speakers do this all the time. Let's practice. Imagine you cannot remember the word thermometer. Do you stop talking? No. You can say, the thing that tells you your temperature. The tool doctors use to check if you have a fever. That little device you put under your tongue. All of those work. Communication continues. Now another. Maybe you forget the word receipt. You can say, the paper they give you after you pay. The little proof that you bought it. The paper from the store with the price on it. Again, communication continues. That is the skill. Now let's practice together. I will give you the object. You describe it in simple English. Do not worry about perfection. Ready, umbrella. Pause and describe. Possible answer. It is the thing you carry when it rains. Good. Next. Pillow. Pause. Possible answer. It is the soft thing you put your head on when you sleep. Good. Next. Keyboard. Pause. Possible answer. It is the thing with letters that you use to type. Excellent. Now let's make it more natural. Sometimes you know part of the meaning, but not the word. So you can use bridge phrases like these. It's a kind of, it's the thing you use for. It's similar to, it's like, it means something close to. People use it when. These phrases keep your speaking smooth. Let's practice them. Repeat after me. It's a kind of tool. It's the thing you use for cutting paper. It's similar to being very tired. It's like a very small backpack. People use it when they travel. Good. Now let's apply them to unknown words inside conversation. Listen. A what is a stroller? B. It's the thing parents push for a baby. Maybe you did not know stroller, but that explanation gives you enough. Now repeat. It's the thing parents push for a baby. Good. Another. A what does spacious mean? B. It means there is a lot of room inside. Repeat. It means there is a lot of room inside. Good. Another. A. What is a corkscrew? B. It's a tool you use to open a bottle. Repeat. It's a tool you use to open a bottle. Very good. Now you try. I will give you the word. You explain it with simple English. Do not use translation. Do not worry about the perfect definition. Just keep the communication alive. Word 1. Helmet. Pause and answer. Possible answer. It is something you wear on your head for safety. Good. Word 2. Freezer. Pause. Possible answer. It is the part of the fridge that keeps food very cold. Good. Word 3. Balcony. Pause. Possible answer. It is an outdoor space attached to an apartment or building. Excellent. Now let's practice speaking around the word with adjectives. Maybe you forget the word tiny. You can say very small, really small, much smaller than normal. Now you are still speaking. Maybe you forget exhausted. You can say, very tired. Tired after too much work. I had no energy left. Good. Maybe you forget furious. You can say, very angry. Angry in a strong way. So angry, I could not stay calm. That is real flexibility. Now repeat after me. I don't need the perfect word to keep speaking. Again. I don't need the perfect word to keep speaking. One more time slowly. I don't need the perfect word to keep speaking. Good. Now let's do a practical drill. I will start. You finish. Yesterday, I used the thing you need to cut paper. Pause. Scissors. Good. Next. The hotel room had a lot of space. It was really, pause, spacious. Good. Next. I was so tired after work. I was, pause, exhausted or very tired. Good. Now a mini dialogue. A sorry. I forgot the word. It's the thing you put candles on at dinner. B candle holder. Yes, that's it. Do you see what happened? The speaker did not stop. The speaker described. The listener helped. Communication succeeded. That matters. Now repeat the dialogue. Sorry, I forgot the word. It's the thing you put candles on at dinner. B. A candle holder. A yes, that's it. Good. Now you try a response. What's the word for the place where you wash dishes? Pause. Possible answer. The sink. Good. What do you call the thing you wear when you ride a bicycle for safety? Pause. Helmet. Good. What is the word for very small rain that falls lightly? Pause. Maybe drizzle. And if you did not know drizzle, you could still say light rain. That is the point. Now let's recap this part. When the word is missing, do not freeze. Use simple descriptions. Use bridge phrases. Use examples. Use function. Use comparison. Say what it does. Say what it looks like. Say when people use it. You are still communicating. That is natural speech. Now let's place all of this inside real conversation. Now we move into short real-life dialogues. In these dialogues, you will practice 4 things at once: listening, guessing, repeating, responding. And because these are mini dialogues, they are good for long-form learning. They feel fresh. They move. They sound natural. Let's begin at a pharmacy. Listen first. Do you have anything for a mild headache? B. Yes, these tablets should help. They may make you drowsy, so don't drive right away. Maybe drowsy is new, but look at the context. Medicine, do not drive. So drowsy probably means sleepy, a little heavy and tired. Now repeat the whole dialogue. Do you have anything for a mild headache? Yes, these tablets should help. They may make you drowsy, so don't drive right away. Good. Now answer out loud. If medicine makes you drowsy, should you feel more alert or more sleepy? Yes, more sleepy. Excellent. Next dialogue. At a train station. Excuse me, is this seat taken? B. No, go ahead. The ride gets crowded after the next stop. Maybe crowded is easy for you. Maybe not. What does it mean? Many people. Not much space. Busy with people. Now repeat. A. Excuse me, is this seat taken? B. No, go ahead. The ride gets crowded after the next stop. Good. Now you respond. A. Why do you want to sit now? Pause. Possible answer. Because it gets crowded later. Very good. Next dialogue. At work. A. Did you finish the report? B. Almost. I'm just revising the last section to make the ideas clearer. Maybe revising is new for some learners, but last section, make the ideas clearer. So revising means checking and improving something again. Repeat it. A. Did you finish the report? B. Almost. I'm just revising the last section to make the ideas clearer. Excellent. Now say this line on its own. I'm revising the last section. Good. Next dialogue. At a restaurant. A. How's the soup? B. It's warm, but a little bland. I think it needs more salt. Maybe bland was new earlier. Now you meet it again. This is important. Warm needs more salt, so bland means not much flavor. Repeat. How's the soup? It's warm, but a little bland. I think it needs more salt. Good. Now answer. If food is bland, is it usually full of strong flavor or low in flavor? Yes, low in flavor. Very good. Next dialogue. At home. A. Why is the floor wet? B. I just mopped it. Be careful. It's still slippery. Repeat the dialogue. A. Why is the floor wet? B. I just mopped it. Be careful. It's still slippery. Good. Now you try the second line from memory. Pause and respond. Excellent. Now let's do a slightly longer one. You look tense. Is everything okay? B. I have to give a short presentation in 10 minutes. You'll be fine. Just speak slowly and breathe. B. I know. I'm just a little uneasy before these things. Maybe uneasy is newer. What helps? Presentation. 10 minutes. Just a little. So uneasy means nervous or not fully comfortable. Repeat after me line by line. You look tense. Is everything okay? B. I have to give a short presentation in 10 minutes. A. You'll be fine. Just speak slowly and breathe. Bo. I know. I'm just a little uneasy before these things. Good. Now answer out loud. What helped you understand uneasy? Was it the dictionary? No. It was the situation, the tone, the emotional direction. Exactly. Now let's do a response drill. I will play person A. You answer as person B. Use simple English. Ready? How was your room at the hotel? Pause and respond. Possible answers. It was spacious. It was small but clean. It felt cramped. It was quiet and comfortable. Good. How was the cake? Pause. Possible answers. It was delicious. It was too sweet. It looked nice, but it was bland. Good. How was the train ride? Pause. Possible answers. It was crowded. It was smooth. It got noisy after the next station. Excellent. Now let's use a dialogue with a missing word. What do you call the paper you get after you pay for something? B. The receipt. A. Yes. That's it. Repeat. What do you call the paper you get after you pay for something? B. The receipt. A. Yes, that's it. Good. Now another. A. I forgot the word. It's the small outside space on an apartment. B. A balcony. A. Exactly. Repeat. A. I forgot the word. It's the small outside space on an apartment. B. A balcony. A. Exactly. Very good. This is real speaking. Not perfect, not frozen, flexible. Now, a quick recap loop. In dialogues, use these clues. Who is speaking? Where are they? What just happened? What is the emotional tone? What object or action fits the situation? And if you forget the word, describe it. That is enough to stay in the conversation. Now let's increase the speed a little and make your responses more automatic. This part is about flow, not rushing, but flowing. You will hear short lines. You will repeat them. Then you will respond quickly. This trains your brain to stay awake and flexible. Let's begin. Listen and repeat. The screen was blurry, so I cleaned my glasses. Again. The screen was blurry, so I cleaned my glasses. What does blurry mean? Not clear. Hard to see sharply. Good. Next. The path was muddy, so we walked around it. Repeat. The path was muddy, so we walked around it. What does muddy mean? Covered in wet dirt. Good. Next. She gave a brief answer and ended the call. Repeat. She gave a brief answer and ended the call. What does brief mean? Short. Very good. Next. The baby was fussy, so her father carried her around the room. Repeat. The baby was fussy, so her father carried her around the room. What does fussy mean? Difficult to calm. A little upset. Maybe crying or uncomfortable. Good. Now a two-line shadowing set. Listen first. The weather changed suddenly. The beach emptied in minutes. Now repeat both lines. The weather changed suddenly. The beach emptied in minutes. Good. Question. If the beach emptied in minutes, did more people arrive or did people leave? Yes. People left. Very good. Next set. He spoke in a steady voice. That helped everyone feel calmer. Repeat. He spoke in a steady voice. That helped everyone feel calmer. What does steady mean here? Calm and even. Not shaky. Good. Next. The surface felt sticky after the juice spilled. Repeat. The surface felt sticky after the juice spilled. What does sticky mean? It holds things lightly. Not dry. Slightly glued by liquid or sugar. Good. Now let's do a compare drill. I will say 2 words. You choose the better fit. Sentence. The library was blank, so I whispered, a noisy be quiet. Pause. Be quiet. Now if I say, the market was lively. Is lively closer to quiet or full of energy? Pause. Full of energy. Good. Next. Her explanation was vague. Is vague closer to clear or not clear? Pause. Not clear. Excellent. Repeat the sentence. Her explanation was vague. Good. Now let's do a short response chain. I ask. You answer. Keep it simple. What does slippery mean? Pause. Easy to slide on. Good. What does spacious mean? Pause. With a lot of room. Good. What does awkward mean? Pause. Socially uncomfortable. Good. What does revise mean? Pause. Check and improve again. Excellent. Now a mini scene. Listen. The waiter approached the table with a tray balanced on one hand. He moved carefully between the chairs and set down 4 glasses without spilling a drop. Maybe balanced is new for someone, but tray. One hand. Carefully. Without spilling. So balanced means kept steady in position. Now repeat. The waiter approached the table with a tray balanced on one hand. Again. He set down 4 glasses without spilling a drop. Good. Now answer this out loud. What clue helped most? The tray. The one hand not spilling. Yes, all of them. That is how context works. Now a faster round. I say the line once. You answer with the meaning. Ready? The room smelled damp after the storm. What does damp mean? Slightly wet. Good. He gave a reluctant smile before answering. What does reluctant probably mean here? Not fully willing. A little unsure. Good. The sweater was itchy, so she changed clothes. What does itchy mean? It makes your skin feel uncomfortable and want a scratch. Good. The hallway echoed when he called her name. What does echoed mean? The sound repeated in the space. Excellent. Now shadow the 4 key lines after me. The room smelled damp after the storm. He gave a reluctant smile before answering. The sweater was itchy, so she changed clothes. The hallway echoed when he called her name. Very good. Now let's make it active speaking. Finish the sentence in your own way. The room smelled damp because... Pause. Possible endings. The windows were open during the rain. The clothes were still wet. The walls had not dried. Good. I changed my sweater because it was itchy and... Pause. Possible endings. It bothered my skin. I felt uncomfortable. I could not relax. Excellent. This is how listening becomes speaking. Now a short reset moment. You are doing well. And if some words still feel new, that is completely fine. This lesson is not about memorizing every item. It is about building the habit. Hear, notice, guess, repeat, use. That rhythm matters more than any single word. Now we continue with longer passages, longer meaning, longer attention, and stronger listening control. Now we move into story length practice. This is where many learners usually stop and reach for a dictionary. Not today. Today, you stay inside the story. You follow the thread. You trust the clues. Let's begin. Listen carefully. When Hannah opened the apartment door, a cool draft moved across the floor. One window in the living room was slightly open, and the curtain lifted and fell in the evening air. She walked in slowly, set her bag on the table, and checked each room. Nothing was missing. She laughed softly when she realized what had happened. Her cat had pushed the window open again. Maybe draft is new. What helped you? Cool. Window slightly open. Curtain moving. Evening air. So draft means a current of air moving through a room. Now repeat the first 2 lines after me. When Hannah opened the apartment door, a cool draft moved across the floor. One window in the living room was slightly open, and the curtain lifted and fell in the evening air. Good. Now answer out loud. Did draft probably mean a loud noise or moving air? Yes, moving air. Very good. Now continue with the emotional side. At first, Hannah checked each room. What does that tell you? A little concern, maybe uncertainty. Then she laughed softly. So the mood changes. That helps you understand the full moment. Now another story. The old cafe on the corner looked ordinary from outside, but inside it felt cozy and bright. A shelf near the counter held second-hand books and soft music played near the back wall. People lingered over their drinks, reading writing or talking quietly with friends. Maybe cozy is new for some learners, but look at the details. Books, soft music, quiet conversations, bright but gentle feeling. So cozy means warm, comfortable, and pleasant in a small, personal way. Repeat the key sentence. The old cafe on the corner looked ordinary from outside, but inside it felt cozy and bright. Good. Now another word. People lingered over their drinks. Maybe lingered is new. What does it suggest? They did not leave quickly. They stayed longer, relaxed. Yes. Now repeat that line. People lingered over their drinks, reading, writing, or talking quietly with friends. Very good. Now answer out loud. If people linger, do they rush away or stay longer than necessary? Yes. They stay longer. Excellent. Now a slightly more active story. During the neighborhood festival, children raced between food stalls, while musicians tuned their instruments near the stage. A woman at one booth handed out small samples of spicy noodles, and a man nearby waved people over to try fresh lemonade. The whole street buzzed with movement and conversation. Maybe booth is new. Maybe samples are new. Maybe buzzed in this use is new. But do not stop. Festival, food stalls, handing out noodles, waving people over, movement and conversation. So booth is a small temporary selling space. Samples are small pieces to try. Buzzed means was full of lively activity or sound. Repeat after me. During the neighborhood festival, children raced between food stalls, while musicians tuned their instruments near the stage. Good. A woman at one booth handed out small samples of spicy noodles. Good. The whole street buzzed with movement and conversation. Excellent. Now let's do a comprehension check. Why does buzzed not mean a B sound here? Because the full street scene gives a broader meaning. Busy, lively, full of energy. That is context-changing meaning. Now another story. Marcus opened the kitchen drawer and frowned. The batteries were gone, the tape had disappeared, and the flashlight was not where he expected. He muttered to himself, checked the hallway closet, and finally found everything inside a small box on the top shelf. His sister had sorted the supplies the night before. Maybe sorted is new. What helps? Batteries, tape, flashlight. Found everything inside a small box. So sorted means organized into order. Repeat. His sister had sorted the supplies the night before. Good. Now another possible new word. Supplies. What does it probably mean? Useful items kept for practical use. Yes. Again, maybe you do not have the perfect definition, but you understand the story, and that is enough. Now let's shadow the key actions. He frowned. He checked the hallway closet. He found everything inside a small box. His sister had sorted the supplies. Good. Now you try. Tell the story back in simple English. Pause and respond. Possible version. He could not find some things in the kitchen. Then he checked another place. Finally, he found them because his sister had organized them. Excellent. That retelling skill is very important. It proves you understood enough. Now, a more emotional story. On the morning of the interview, Sarah arrived early and sat in the lobby with her hands folded in her lap. She reviewed her notes once, then twice, but the words began to blur together. When her name was called, she stood up, took a slow breath, and walked in with a composed smile. Maybe lobby is new. Maybe composed is new. Let's decode them. Lobby, morning of interview. Waiting before going in. So lobby is probably the entrance waiting area of a building or office. Composed smile. After nerves. Slow breath. Walked in. So composed means calm and controlled. Repeat the key sentence. When her name was called, she stood up, took a slow breath, and walked in with a composed smile. Very good. Now answer. Did composed mean wild and emotional, or calm and controlled? Yes, calm and controlled. Excellent. Now recap this part with me. Longer stories give you more clues, not fewer. That is important. A longer story may feel harder, but it often helps more because you have a place, action, emotion, sequence, and result. So when you hear a new word in a longer passage, do not panic. Stay with the story. The story is helping you. Now we move into a part that sharpens your guesses. Compare. Contrast. Narrow the meaning. Sometimes you already know the general meaning. Now you want more precision. This part helps you get closer without needing a dictionary right away. You do this by comparing the new word with nearby known words. Let's begin. Listen, the room was not filthy, but it certainly was not spotless either. Maybe filthy is new, but spotless is the opposite end. Very clean, so filthy must be very dirty. Repeat it. The room was not filthy, but it certainly was not spotless either. Good. Now another. Her voice was not loud, just firm. Maybe firm is new in this use. Not loud, just firm. So firm here probably means strong and clear, not soft or uncertain. Repeat. Her voice was not loud, just firm. Very good. Now another. The walk was not dangerous, only steep and tiring. Maybe steep is familiar now. See how nearby words help. Not dangerous, but tiring. So steep connects to physical effort, likely because of the angle of the road or hill. Good. Now a choice drill. Sentence. His answer was vague, not false. Does vague mean a lie? Or B, not clear enough? Pause. B, not clear enough. Good. Next. The jacket was lightweight, not flimsy. Does lightweight here mean a not heavy or be weak and poor quality? Pause. A, not heavy. And the contrast with flimsy helps show that lightweight is not automatically weak. That is nuance. Very useful. Now another. The speech was lengthy but engaging. Maybe lengthy is new. What helps? But engaging. So the speech was long but still interesting. Repeat. The speech was lengthy but engaging. Good. Now compare. Lengthy is closer to short or long. Yes, long. Very good. Now let's do a sentence family. The soup was warm. The soup was hot. The soup was boiling. These are not the same. Warm is mild. Hot is strong. Boiling is extreme. So when you hear an unfamiliar word, also ask, is this mild, strong, extreme? That helps you narrow the meaning. Now let's practice with this. Listen. She was upset. She was angry. She was furious. These rise in intensity. So if you know angry and you hear furious in a tense scene, you can guess it is stronger. Now repeat the line. She was furious. Good. Now another. He was tired. He was worn out. He was exhausted. Again, intensity rises. Maybe you do not know the middle or final word exactly, but you can feel the strength. This helps you follow the meaning. Now a contrast passage. The first apartment was compact but practical. The second was spacious but expensive. The third was bright and modern, yet oddly noisy because it faced the main road. Maybe compact is new, but contrast helps. Compact but practical. Second apartment, spacious. So compact probably means small in size but organized well. Repeat. The first apartment was compact but practical. Good. Now answer, is compact closer to large and open or smaller and efficient? Yes, smaller and efficient. Excellent. Now another. He gave a polite smile, though his tone sounded cold. Maybe cold is easy in temperature, but here it is emotional. Polite smile. Tone sounded cold. So cold here means not warm or friendly in feeling. Repeat. He gave a polite smile, though his tone sounded cold. Good. Now you try. Finish the meaning. If someone sounds cold, they sound. Pause. Possible answers. Unfriendly. Distant. Not warm. Very good. Now let's do a mini speaking prompt. Describe these pairs out loud. Compact versus spacious. Pause. Possible answer. Compact means small but well organized. Spacious means there is a lot of room. Good. Firm versus soft. In a voice. Pause. Possible answer. Firm means strong and clear. Soft means gentle and lighter. Excellent. Vague versus clear. Pause. Possible answer. Vague means not specific enough. Clear means easy to understand. Very good. This is how you sharpen meaning through comparison. Now we prepare for full review. In the next part, everything comes together. Now we bring all the radar channels together. Scene, emotion, grammar, word shape, comparison, conversation, description. This is a full system review. You already know these tools. Now you use them together. Let's begin with a mixed passage. Listen carefully. By the time the guests arrived, the apartment looked inviting. Lamps glowed in the corners, music played softly from the kitchen, and the smell of fresh bread drifted through the hallway. On the table, a simple bowl of oranges added a bright splash of color. Maybe inviting is new. What clues help? Warm lights, soft music, fresh bread smell. Bright color. So inviting means making people feel welcome and comfortable. Now repeat the first line. By the time the guests arrived, the apartment looked inviting. Good. Another word. drifted. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the hallway. What does drifted suggest? Moved slowly through the air. Yes. Repeat that line. The smell of fresh bread drifted through the hallway. Very good. Now tell me the clue type. Was inviting understood mostly through scene emotion or word shape? Pause. Mostly scene and emotion together. Excellent. Now another passage. Ethan unfolded the map on the hood of the car and traced the route with his finger. The road ahead looked unfamiliar, but the sky was clear, and they still had plenty of daylight. Maybe traced as new. Map, finger, route. So traced means followed the line with his finger. Repeat it. He traced the route with his finger. Good. Another, unfamiliar. What helps here? The word shape. You know familiar. Unfamiliar means not familiar. Not known. Repeat. The road ahead looked unfamiliar. Excellent. Now answer this out loud. Which clue helped more with unfamiliar? The scene or the word shape? Pause. Mostly word shape. Exactly. Now another mixed passage. The customer spoke in a calm but firm tone. She explained that the charger had stopped working after only 2 days and asked whether the item could be replaced. The clerk listened, politely examined the packaging, and nodded. Maybe clerk is new. Maybe packaging is new. But the conversation gives you everything. Customer, charger, replaced, examined. So clerk is the store worker helping her. Packaging is the box, or wrapping around the item. Now repeat the last line. The clerk listened politely, examined the packaging, and nodded. Good. Now tell me which clue helped most with clerk. Pause. Conversation roll. Exactly. Now one more. After the long flight, the children became restless in the waiting area. One kept tapping his shoes against the chair leg, while the other climbed down, then up again, unable to stay still. Maybe restless is new, but long flight. Waiting area. Unable to stay still. So restless means unable to relax or remain still. Repeat. After the long flight, the children became restless in the waiting area. Good. Now say the meaning in your own words. Pause. Possible answer. They had too much energy or felt uncomfortable sitting still. Very good. Now let's do a rapid review loop. I say the word in a sentence. You say the clue type that helps most. Ready? The cake looked homemade and a little uneven, but it smelled wonderful. What helps most with homemade? Pause. Scene and common sense. Good. He gave a hesitant answer before signing the paper. What helps with hesitant? Pause. Emotion and action. Good. The jacket was waterproof. What helps most? Pause. Word shape. Good. The hallway echoed when the child laughed. What helps? Pause. Sound and scene. Excellent. Now a short recap speech. Repeat after me line by line. I do not need every word. I need enough meaning. I can use the scene. I can use the feeling. I can use grammar. I can use word shape. I can compare and describe. I can keep going. Very good. Again, a little slower. I do not need every word. I need enough meaning. I can use the scene. I can use the feeling. I can use grammar. I can use word shape. I can compare and describe. I can keep going. Excellent. Now one final part. A final fluency lab. a final long story, and a closing challenge for your real life. Now it is time to use everything together. I want you to listen like a confident learner, not a nervous learner, not a learner searching for perfect definitions, a confident learner who follows meaning. Here is your final story. Listen carefully. On Saturday morning, Daniel took the early bus to a small coastal town he had never visited before. The sky was pale gray when he arrived, and the streets were still quiet, except for a few shop owners sweeping their doorways. He walked slowly toward the water, guided by the smell of salt in the air and the distant sound of waves. Near the harbor, a fisherman in rubber boots was untangling a thick net, while two children watched from the edge of the pier. One of them pointed excitedly at a row of bright blue boats rocking gently on the water. Daniel stopped near a cafe with fogged windows and stepped inside to warm his hands around a cup of coffee. The room was narrow but welcoming. A woman behind the counter was arranging pastries in a glass case, and an old radio on the shelf played soft jazz. When Daniel asked for directions to the lighthouse, the woman smiled and drew a simple map on a napkin. She told him to follow the steep road past the market, then continue until he saw a white fence and a cluster of windswept trees. Outside, the town had become livelier. Delivery trucks rolled along the street, cyclists weaved past pedestrians, and voices drifted from the open market square. At one stall, a man was selling jars of honey and homemade jam. At another, a teenage girl offered slices of warm bread spread with butter. Daniel almost stopped there, but the thought of the lighthouse pulled him onward. The road upward was longer than he expected. By the time he reached the top, his legs felt heavy and his breathing had grown uneven. Still, the view was worth it. Below him, the harbor curved around the bay like a painted line, and the sea stretched far beyond it, silver under the cloudy sky. The lighthouse stood at the cliff's edge, weathered but steady. Its paint was chipped in places, and the steps inside were narrow, but from the top, Daniel could see the whole coastline in one sweeping view. A cold wind met him as he stepped back outside. He pulled his jacket closer and stood there for a moment, silent and fully awake. He had not planned anything remarkable for the weekend. He had only wanted a short break from the city. Yet now, with the sea below him and the wind pressing against his shoulders, the trip felt strangely meaningful. Small, simple, and meaningful. Now let's work with it. Maybe some words were new, maybe not, but you stayed with the story. That matters. Let's decode a few. First word, harbor. What helped? Coastal town, boats, water, fishermen. So harbor is the protected water area where boats stay. Good. Repeat. Near the harbor, a fisherman in rubber boots was untangling a thick net. Excellent. Next. Pier. Children watched from the edge of the pier. What helps? Harbor, water, edge. So pier is the structure that reaches out over the water. Good. Repeat the line. Two children watched from the edge of the pier. Very good. Next. Fogged windows. What does fogged mean? He stepped inside to warm his hands, so the windows were cloudy with moisture, not clear. Repeat. Daniel stopped near a cafe with fogged windows. Good. Next. Windswept trees. Do not overthink. Use the pieces. Swept by wind. trees shaped by strong wind. That is enough. Repeat. He saw a white fence and a cluster of windswept trees. Excellent. Next. Weathered. The lighthouse stood at the cliff's edge, weathered but steady. What helps? Old outdoor building. Sea. Wind. Paint chipped. So weathered means worn by time and weather. Repeat. The lighthouse stood at the cliff's edge, weathered but steady. Good. Now one more. Meaningful. At the end, the trip felt strangely meaningful. What does that mean? Not just fun. Not just pleasant. It felt important in a personal way. It mattered. Good. Now let's do active recall. Answer out loud. Why did Daniel know he was near the water before he saw it? Pause. Because of the smell of salt and the sound of waves. Good. What helped you understand harbor? Pause. The fishermen, boats, and water. Excellent. What helped you understand weathered? Pause. The lighthouse, chipped paint, and the outdoor sea setting. Very good. Now let's do a speaking transfer. Tell the story back in simple English. Use your own words. Do not worry about every detail. Pause and respond. Possible simple version. A man visited a small town near the sea. He walked around, had coffee, got directions, and climbed to a lighthouse. The walk was tiring, but the view was beautiful. At the end, the trip felt simple, but important to him. Excellent. That is real understanding. Now, let's bring it back to your life. After this video, here is your practice habit. When you watch a show, read an article, or listen to English tonight, do this. Choose one unfamiliar word. Do not check it immediately. First ask, what is the scene? What is the feeling? What is the grammar role? What word parts do I recognize? What simple meaning fits best? Then write your guess. Later you can confirm it. That habit changes everything because it trains independence. And independence is one of the real signs of fluency. Now let's do one final confidence loop together. Repeat after me. I can stay in the conversation. I can understand enough to keep going. I can guess with logic. I can speak with simple words. I can describe what I mean. I do not need to panic. I can grow my English every day. Very good. Again, slower. I can stay in the conversation. I can understand enough to keep going. I can guess with logic. I can speak with simple words. I can describe what I mean. I do not need to panic. I can grow my English every day. Excellent. Now, one last spoken reminder. Unknown words are not walls. They are clues. They are invitations. They are moments where your brain learns to become stronger. Each time you stay calm and keep listening, you win. Each time you guess and continue speaking, you win. Each time you describe a missing word instead of freezing, you win. That is how natural English grows, not through fear, not through stopping every 10 seconds, but through attention, patience, and trust. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope this lesson helped you feel calmer, stronger, and more flexible in English. For your next step, take one real piece of English today and use your word radar on it. Then say one of the new words out loud in your own sentence. That small habit will do more for your fluency than you think. Keep listening, keep repeating, keep noticing, keep speaking, and keep moving forward in English, one useful clue at a time.